Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for the February 24th, 2025 regular council meeting here for the city of Dauphin. We'll call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. And we affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows. We've got one addition for this evening. It is item 11A. That is the Mountain View School Division's 2025-2026 public budget meeting, and that's happening on March 6th, 2025. We'll call the question for the amendment on the agenda. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that the council does accept the regular council meeting agenda as amended. I won't call any questions there. I won't ask for any questions. We'll call them. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray and seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes from the following meeting. That's the regular council meeting back on February 3rd of this year. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? None opposed? Carried. Next up is the consent agenda. We'll get into number 5A, action items. We've got a couple proclamations here. Shop Canadian, support local. Be it resolved that council proclaims their commitment to standing with local businesses, workers, producers, and industries, and to fostering a strong, united, and prosperous future for our community and country in 2025 and beyond. And the second proclamation, which is being handed here, does anyone want to read any of these proclamations? No? Okay, I'm going to need some help with the name of the second proclamation so I don't look like a fool. Amyloidosis Awareness Month. Thank you, Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that Council proclaims March 2025 as Amyloidosis Awareness Month, and that is recommended by the Deputy Mayor and the City Manager. And we'll move on with the consent agenda. Item A3, outstanding receivable account added to taxes. Yes, just one. Be it resolved that the following receivable account be added to taxes. That is 108 3rd Avenue Northeast, $70 for permit number 6020. And that is recommended by the Director of Finance and the Tax Clerk. 5B now, filing items. Number 1, Community Futures Parkland newsletter for 2025 or February 2025. Growing Manitoba Ag newsletter for February, and the February 2025 Health Plus newsletter for Prairie Mountain Health. That's item number B3 and B4. Mountain View School Division's news digest for January 27th and February 10th. And that all is recommended by the Deputy Mayor and the City Manager. So with that being said, moved by Councillor Stakilo and seconded by Councillor Ray, be it resolved that all items listed and read under item 5 consent agenda be approved and form part of these minutes. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the February 24th, 2025 regular Council meeting. That is the ICT Manager's report for January of this year. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by Council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check totals ranging from 27 to 136. That's 110, totaling $1,423,662.87. And 3 EFTs, number 11 to 13, totaling $24,693.54. You got that, Sean? Perfect. No voided checks in the current range and no voided checks in past ranges. There were 9 electronic payments for January 2025, totaling $204,311.16. Any questions or comments regarding those numbers? I'll call the question then. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following engineering staff report for tonight's regular Council meeting. That is the Building Inspector report for January 2025. Any questions or comments there? Looking forward to another active spring in the community when it comes to all that sort of stuff. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services report for tonight's regular Council meeting. That is the Bylaw Enforcement Officer's report for January of this year. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following protective services report for tonight's regular Council meeting. That is the Animal Services Officer report for January. Any questions or comments on this one? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? None opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and report from the following committees. Number 1, Communities in Bloom Committee, a regular committee meeting back on November 14th of last year. Number 2, Intermountain Watershed Districts, a regular board meeting. That was on December 19th of last year. And number 3, the Fort Dauphin Museum, holding their regular board meeting back on, it's got December 4th, 2025 here. I'm going to assume that's 2024, so I'll make that little note here. And their manager's report for February 11th, 2025. Any questions or comments regarding those items? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Whereas radon is an odorless, colorless, tasteless, invisible radioactive gas that comes from the soil and enters homes and buildings as a carcinogen that causes more than 3,200 deaths per year in Canada. And whereas non-smokers who have high levels of radon in their homes over their lifetime have a 1 in 20 chance of developing lung cancer, and for smokers, this risk is 1 in 3. And whereas approximately 24% of Manitobans may be living in homes with radon levels higher than Health Canada's guideline of 200 becquerels, per cubic meter. And whereas in 2023-24, 139 City of Dauphin residents participated in Take Action on Radon's Free Test Kit Challenge, and the results indicated that 92% of the homes tested had radon levels exceeding Health Canada's guideline, which highlights the urgent need to address radon levels in the homes and buildings in our community. And whereas the City of Dauphin has been awarded funding through Health Canada's Radon Outreach Contribution Program in the amount of $15,000 per year for 3 years for a total of $45,000 to support the development and rollout of a comprehensive radon action plan for 2024 to 2027. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information a Radon Outreach Contribution Program contribution agreement between Health Canada and the City of Dauphin, and a memorandum dated February 21st, 2025 from the Deputy City Manager noting that the agreement outlines the terms and conditions pursuant to which Health Canada will provide this funding and recommending that the agreement be approved. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and authorizes the Radon Outreach Contribution Program Contribution Agreement to be signed and sealed by the City Manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments regarding radon? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Okay. Okay, so we're just this next resolution is basically the same. I'm just going to read the be it resolves, um, and we'll leave it at that because the wording is pretty much the same. So it's just to save some of us some time, we will do that. So be it resolved, actually first, moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the City of Dauphin Radon Action Plan from 2024 to 2027 and a memorandum dated January 29th, 2025 from the Deputy City Manager noting that the plan outlines the city's approach to radon awareness, testing, mitigation, advocacy, and the policy development to protect public health and promote safe indoor air quality in the homes and workplaces in our community. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the adoption of City of Dauphin Radon Action Plan 2024 to 2027 and supports administration in continuing to engage with stakeholders, community partners, and residents to promote awareness and encourage radon testing and mitigation efforts throughout the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas the City of Dauphin is committed to providing inclusive access to all municipal spaces, services, and information, and accessibility planning demonstrates respect for the dignity and independence of people with disabilities who are a valued part of our city. And whereas in accordance with the Accessibility for Manitobans Act, the city identifies, removes, and prevents accessibility barriers through compliance with the AMA's 3 accessibility standards that have been released to date: accessible customer service, accessible employment, and accessible information and communications. And whereas in addition to these specific accessibility standards, in accordance with the AMA, municipalities are required to update their overarching accessibility plan every 2 years. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information an accessibility plan update for the period 2025 and 2026 and a memorandum dated January 29th, 2025 from the Deputy City Manager recommending that the updated plan be approved. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the adoption of Accessibility Plan 2025-2026. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Whereas Council approved Attendance Support Policy 2.7 at their regular meeting of August 13th, 2023, and administration has determined through practical use of the policy that some revisions were needed to recognize and accommodate dedicated employees who may have a legitimate illness, injury, medical condition, or surgery that results in absences of an unusual frequency or length of time. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information Attendance Support Policy 2.7.1 and a memorandum dated January 16th, 2025 from the Deputy City Manager noting that the revised policy allows supervisors to consider the employee's historical absences over a 3-year period in addition to their absences during the previous 6-month period when determining whether a review and or corrective action is necessary as long as excused absences are documented, and recommending that the policy be approved. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves the adoption of Attendance Support Policy 2.7.1. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray, whereas City Public Works currently utilizes 16-foot and 14-foot wide snow blades in their winter maintenance activities, and the addition of a 12-foot wide blade would allow for the city's third-wheel loader to be used during snow clearing operations. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information a memorandum dated February 10th, 2025 from the Director of Public Works and Operations recommending the purchase of a 12-foot wide snow blade with hydraulic gate from Right Side Equipment Limited for a price of $33,267.92, plus applicable taxes. And further be it resolved that council agrees with the recommendation from the Director of Public Works and Operations and approves the purchase of a 12-foot wide snow blade with hydraulic gate from Right Side Equipment for a price of $33,267.92, plus applicable taxes to be paid for by the Machinery and Equipment Reserve. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray, whereas the Dauphin Derailers Cycling Club Incorporated, established in 2017, has demonstrated a commitment to enhancing outdoor recreational opportunities in the Parkland region by developing and operating a 26-kilometer network of trails known as the Northgate Multi-Use Trails. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated February 3rd, 2025 from DDCC, requesting a grant in the amount of $20,000 for the 2025 financial year to support operational expenses and infrastructure improvements at the Northgate Multi-Use Trails. And further be it resolved that Council refers DDCC's grant request to the 2025 budget deliberations for considerations. Assuming no questions or comments on this one, all in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the importance of arts and culture in fostering community engagement and enhancing the quality of life for residents and supports efforts to improve accessibility and inclusivity for all members of the community. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated January 13th, 2025 from Cam Bennett, President, Dauphin and District Allied Arts Council, requesting a letter supporting DDAAC's application to the Dauphin and District Community Foundation for a grant to fund the installation of a commercial stair lift and handicap door opener for the north stairwell and door of the Watson Arts Center to improve accessibility for users of the Dauphin Art Group and Pottery and Ceramics Club Studio. And further be it resolved that the Council approves the request for a letter of support for DDAAC's grant application to DDCF and authorizes the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Sobering, whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the vital role that arts and culture play in enhancing community life and supports efforts to maintain and improve cultural facilities in a manner that preserves their historical significance. And be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated February 19th, 2025 from Cam Bennett, again the President of the Dauphin and District Allied Arts Council, requesting a letter to support DDAAC's application for a heritage permit for the installation of air source heat pumps at the Watson Arts Center, which will improve climate control and operational efficiency while respecting the building's heritage status. And further be it resolved that Council approves the request for a letter of support for DDAAC's heritage permit application and authorizes the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments on that one? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly, whereas the Dauphin and District Community Food Bank Society Incorporated provides an essential service to residents of the City of Dauphin and surrounding areas by offering food hampers to individuals and families experiencing food insecurity. And whereas the food bank is facing an urgent need to relocate due to the sale of its current facility, which will result in significantly increased operating costs, including rent, utilities, and insurance. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated February 18th, 2025 from Kit Daly on behalf of the food bank, requesting a letter of support, requesting a letter supporting the food bank's application to Manitoba's From the Ground Up Safe, Healthy Communities for All program to assist with relocation costs, the purchase of necessary equipment, and 1 year of rent to ensure the continuity of its services. And further be it resolved that council approves the request for a letter supporting the food bank's application from the ground from the ground up funding, and authorizes the mayor to sign the letter on behalf of the city of Dauphin. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? None opposed. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that bylaw 06/2024, being a bylaw of the city of Dauphin, authorizing expenditure and borrowing of money for the South End land drainage system as a local improvement, be now read a second time. Questions, comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that bylaw 06/2024, being a bylaw of the city of Dauphin, authorizing expenditure and borrowing of the money for the South End land drainage system as a local improvement, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. This is a recorded vote, so we'll start to my left and move to my right. Councillor Sobering in favor. Councillor Stakilo in favor. Councillor Bellemare in favor. Councillor Ray in favor. Councillor Daly in favor. Online is Mayor Boziak. You're in favor, but you don't get a vote. So sorry.
He does.
Oh, he does. Okay, because I'm chairing. Okay, doesn't matter. We're good. All in favor.
You can pass it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I thought I'd just comment, this is actually the final step that we need to borrow money for that big drainage project that we did in the South End. So the project was about $8.2-ish million. We got about $3.6 million in grant money from the province, and this is the remaining 5.5 that we need to pay for the work. So we've been actually funding it through reserves on our own, but the bank account has been quite low. So it's nice that we get the money back in the bank account and we can continue and go about our business. So thank you.
Thank you, City Manager, not only for that information, but for giving me a break and to take a breather, because I haven't had one yet. Next one, moved by Councillor Ray and seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that bylaw 04/2025, being a bylaw of the city of Dauphin, amending bylaw 02/2009 for the regulation and control of traffic and parking in the city of Dauphin. No parking anymore, or maybe, on Whitmore Avenue East and on Mountain Road South. And this is being read a first time. Any questions or comments regarding this this bylaw? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the following invitations. There's multiple here, 5 of them. The first one, Mountain View School Division's 2025-26 public budget meeting happening on March 6th. The Association of Manitoba Municipalities 2025 Annual Municipal General Insurance Renewal Meeting. Sounds exciting. It's happening on March 7th. The third one, Prairie Mountain Health, their Ideas Fair, that's going down on March 12th, and it looks like the mayor's already attending that. That's super exciting. And number 4, Association of Manitoba Municipalities Cities Caucus meeting happening April 15th of this year. And number 5, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities 2025 Spring Convention. That is April 15th and 16th later this year. Further be it resolved that all expenses related to council and senior management attending these events be borne by the city of Dauphin. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, call the questions. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the councillors' reports for the regular council meeting on February 24th. That is today. Councillor Daly always starts, it feels like, so I'm going to start with Councillor Sobering today. Threw a little curveball
A
there.
little fake out there.
Yeah.
I saw his light go red, so he got him. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I attended a Dauphin District Handyvan meeting on February the 18th. I attended a Riverside Cemetery meeting on February the 19th. And then as recent as today, I attended a Economic Development Committee meeting. And I will be assuming the responsibilities as chair as Mayor Boziak steps back. And just thank you for the opportunity. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. Councillor Stikilo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. For myself, February 3rd, regular council meeting, February 10th, planning and priorities meeting. And as Councillor Sobering mentioned, the economic development meeting earlier today, I've been delegated back on that board, or I'm back on that board now. So I was in attendance at the meeting today as well. And yeah, it's nice to be back there. I've been on that committee before, and excited to move forward with that. And then back on February 21st, the mayor reached out and asked if I would bring greetings on behalf of mayor and council to the rural U15A hockey provincials, as I may or may not be related to somebody on the Dauphin team. So anyway, I did, and it was great. And the weekend led up to an exciting final between Dauphin and their rivals, Swan River. And it was quite exciting as scoring opened up in the game, like 15 seconds into the game. And then Swan River was able to tie it up with like 4 seconds left in the second period. And then it took all the way till 10 seconds left in the third period for Dauphin to get that 2-1, and then 5 seconds left to get an empty net off the faceoff to take the championship gold 3-1. So that was exciting. One of the things I did mention in the greetings and in the welcome was that Dauphin really likes and is privileged and proud to host events, and sporting events is one of them. And I quickly highlighted that in my opening, and we take pride in that for sure. And I had a number of people come up and comment on the facilities that we have and the amenities that are in our community, and it's just great to be able to promote that. And I know there's another hockey provincials coming up March 7th to 9th. The U13A will be hosted here in Dauphin as well. So it looks like it'll be an exciting time in 2 weekends from now again. So with that, that ends my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Stikilo. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. On February 8th, I attended the annual general meeting for the Parkland Regional Library, and we set the levy there for the upcoming year. And on the 10th, a planning and priorities meeting. On the 12th, Dauphin and Area Welcoming Committee, and received updates on the various immigration initiatives that are happening. On the 12th, I went to a presentation that Al Gray did on the history of Riverside Cemetery, and that was at the Active Living Center. On the 13th, Communities in Bloom meeting, where we decided not to enter the contest this year, and we're going to kind of morph this into a city beautification committee. On the 18th, Dauphin Public Library Committee meeting, and we received the audit. On the 19th, Riverside Cemetery meeting, 2 main topics, discussing information about the future decisions and policy for the Perpetual Care Fund, plus began making decisions about a columbarium, and I just had another meeting about that before this meeting. And then on the 19th, Protective Services meeting with the fire chief and the RCMP sergeant. And around the community, Mama Week Committee has now selected a new logo, so stay tuned for that. And also on the 18th, I read in 4 classrooms in the Smith-Jackson School in celebration of I Love to Read Month, and there were no buses running that day, so I kind of ended up being the featured person that afternoon. On the 22nd, I walked the hour-long route for the coldest night of the year, which has raised over $20,000 for the local Food for Thought program, which provides hot lunches for Dauphin students. This is your biggest fundraiser, so your support is greatly appreciated, and you can still make donations to moi between now and the end of March. And I've got that software all figured out now, so I'm good. And kudos to the talented people who made Nana's Naughty Knickers happen this past weekend at the Watson. The auditorium was filled with laughter all evening thanks to you, and it's just what we all needed at this time of the year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. It's just speaking quickly of the Toboggan Hill. I was at work yesterday briefly, and there were probably like 100 people on that hill, like just because of the warm weather and the snow. That might be running low on snow now with the way the temperatures have been, but it was unreal how many people were on the hill yesterday. There was no space.
which is very exciting. And
Yeah.
the other big news item for the hill is that this pipe kind of appeared, and we had pictures of this pipe. So that was part of the equipment that was installed when the hill was made, because when you know how to make a hill, you actually install monitors and blah, blah, blah. And because the snow was melting, that appeared. So they had to cut it off, measure how much they cut off, because that's important to engineering types. And so it goes. So yeah, very exciting. So glad kids had a great weekend.
Awesome. All right, Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Assistant Mayor or Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Sorry, threw me there for a second. February 3rd was our last regular council meeting, and on the 10th, planning and priorities meeting. February 11th, we had our CSWB Zoom meeting with CCFSC. On the 13th, I attended the Zoom question and answer session with CCFSC. The 21st, we had our Sharps Committee Teams meeting. And on the 22nd, I also took part in the coldest night of the year fundraising walk. And later that evening, I also went to the local production of Nana's Naughty Knickers. And again, yeah, big kudos goes out to the director, Martine, and all the others that were involved with the production. It was a great event. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Laughlin. I attended the regular council meeting February 3rd. February 4th, I attended the academic awards dinner for Assiniboine College. On February 5th, I met with Charlene Gulak on vet board issues and progress on items, of course, have been on pause in that regard due to the tariff strategic meetings that have been tying everybody up. February 7th, I traveled to Fredericton, New Brunswick to attend the FCM Sustainable Communities Conference. Very informative, almost information overload at times. However, one of the things I will take from that is that the city of Dauphin nationally has either done a lot of the projects that they were pushing there, or are in the process of doing them, or are on the table to have them done. So I think as a small city, we got a lot of exposure for having been sort of at the top of the pyramid. So that was kind of nice to get out of our bubble and find out that we're actually doing as well as a lot of big places. So that was kind of nice. February 10th, attended the PNP meeting by Zoom, our teams. February 18th, met with Julie Konecki on the Housing Foundation project over there at the high rise. It's progressing well. She will be announcing soon or reaching out to invite everybody to the grand opening of the lounge, which should be done right away, and that'll make a big difference on programming during the day and things of that nature. So that's nice to have that up to speed. February 19th, attended the Protective Services meeting, and on the 21st with Councillor Ray, attended the Sharps meeting via Teams. And that's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Mayor Boziak, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
Nothing specific, Deputy Mayor Laughlin, except I had a couple of opportunities in the last couple of weeks to meet with some other politicians. I met with the Reeve and the CAO from the rural municipality to get prepared for the meeting that we have coming up later this week with the Minister of Justice to discuss the very preliminary starts of the Justice Center planning for Dauphin. Also met with our MLA and Minister Kostyshin to talk about a few things related to our community, and then also had the chance to talk to the Minister of Municipal Relations, Glenn Simard, who was on his way through town last week, going up to the Trappers Festival in the Paw. So it was just an opportunity to again let them know what some of our issues and concerns are, the projects that we're working on, the things that we'd like to get the ear of the provincial government about. And all those meetings were very positive, and some great information was shared. And I just want to, sort of re-emphasize the very positive tone of the meeting we had with the rural municipality to discuss the Justice Center. I think that this project may allow us to get to work very closely together. So I was quite quite enthused about the outcome of that meeting and looking forward to the meeting with the Justice Minister and his folks later on this week. And that's about it for me.
Thank you, Mayor Boziak. And with that being said, moved by Councillor Stakilo and seconded by Councillor Ray, the council meeting, be it resolved that the council meeting be recessed at 5:35. Thanks very much for joining.